What actually changes when your portfolio crosses that $2.5 million mark? It's not that you suddenly feel rich. In fact, you might not feel much different at all. But here's the scary part. Others notice, and that changes everything. The government, the financial industry, they're all tuned in. So in this video, I'm going to show you the 4 main traps for high net worth retirees to avoid, and our 5-pillar framework that you can implement to help avoid these traps, fully enjoy your retirement, and strategically protect the wealth that you've worked so hard to create. Once you reach that $2.5 million mark, we eliminate some problems and add flexibility, but unfortunately, we also create new ones. That old saying, mo money, mo problems, it has some truth to it. We're shifting from do I have enough to protecting what you've built. And what used to be a harmless mistake now has big consequences. Take your portfolio, for example. A 10% drop on $500,000 used to be just $50K. But now that same 10% drop on, say, $3 million is a $300,000 swing. So with that being said, let's dive into the 4 traps for high net worth retirees to avoid. Hi, my name's Rob, certified financial planner with RB Wealth, here to help you get the most ROI out of life and your money. Trap number 1, the industry starts targeting you. At this level, you've entered what's known as the qualified client category. You might not notice it, but the system does. Your income, home value, purchase histories. Unfortunately, your data is just out there and they flag you. It's like an imaginary check mark next to your name, which means you're going to get targeted more on social media and get invited to more dinner seminars for exclusive investment opportunities. Shiny new objects with an excellent sales pitch that just happens to make perfect sense at just the right time. But you have to remember that just because something is complex or exclusive, it doesn't mean it's necessarily better. Most of the time, it just means higher fees and lower returns. So keep this in mind. The next time a new investment pops up on your feed or you get some special invite in the mail, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Trap number 2. Many high net worth retirees keep deferring their IRAs and 401ks thinking that's the smart move. But if you start retirement at age 65 with, say, $2 million in pre-tax accounts and you earn just 6 to 7% per year, those funds are likely to double in the next 7 years. So once you're 75 and RMDs kick in, now suddenly you're dealing with taxes on a $4 million account balance instead of a $2 million account balance because you just let it sit and didn't do anything about it. And then the IRMA Medicare surcharges kick in. With higher income from RMDs, now your Medicare premiums could jump from around $200 a month to over $700 a month per person. That's nearly $12,000 a year in extra premiums for a married couple. And that's just the beginning. You also have to watch out for the extra Medicare tax, which is a 3.8% tax on all income, net investment income tax, AMT, alternative minimum taxes. And the reality is, without proactive planning, these tax consequences just keep getting bigger and bigger. So don't blindly avoid your IRAs and 401ks for as long as possible. Instead, develop a bucking strategy that allows you to have flexibility for which accounts to draw from depending on the situation. Trap number 3 is the automated investment. Investing for retirement and spending is far different than investing during the accumulation stage. You're shifting into a different place in life, and these plans, like the target date funds inside of your 401ks, don't know what's going on. The investment itself doesn't know your plan. It's why we regularly end up getting asked by clients, why did my investment stop growing? These funds can easily end up way too conservative, causing you to miss out on significant gains, or worse, it can end up staying far too aggressive, and then ultimately the market takes a dive and you end up having to sell while the market is down just to cover your regular spending. So don't fall for the trap of these automated investments believing that they're actually done for you. They're not. They're only done for you at one single moment in time. The investment doesn't know when your life changes. Trap number 4, the failed estate plan. It gets me every time how many people we speak with significant wealth that don't even have a basic updated will and power of attorney, but then even more so the ones that do. One of the worst mistakes we regularly see is the people who spent all of this time and money on the attorney to create the complex estate documents, and then they never actually put them into place. That's right. Just creating the documents and signing them and getting them notarized, it doesn't really help. And it's not something that your estate planner is going to do for you, but your advisor should at least help out with it. Once the documents are created, certain assets may need to be transferred into your trust, and others may just need to have the beneficiaries updated. But if you don't do these things, those expensive documents are kind of useless. Now that we've gone over the 4 traps for high net worth retirees to avoid, let's cover our 5-pillar framework to help you implement some of these strategies on your own and act as a guide moving forward so that you can make better decisions with your money. Number 1, know your numbers. The first step to this is asking yourself what is truly most important to you about money. Write it down. Step number 2, write down the amount of money that you want to be able to spend each year. Step number 3, take that dollar amount and divide it by 5%. Yes, 5%, not 4%. 4% is the old traditional rule. Once you reach this level of wealth, you can afford a little bit more flexibility. So if your spending number is $2 million, divide the annual amount that you want to spend by 5%, and the answer you get is going to be the infamous number you're looking for in a very real way. Instead of you just having an arbitrary number like what a lot of people have that we talk with, where they just kind of blindly say, hey, I want 3 million or 5 million, whatever it is. The problem with that is that when you don't fully understand your numbers, you're just going to end up continuing to move the goalposts, and then you end up working way longer than you should and not spending nearly enough time enjoying the things that you've worked so hard to be able to do. So take your spending number, divide it by 5%, and stick to that number. That's your starting point. Number 2, boring works. 99% of the time, doing the boring same old thing with your investments is probably the best thing. Like we talked about earlier, once you've reached this level, it's easy to get sucked into shiny new opportunities, stuff that sounds exclusive, exciting, or just different. But the more complex that it is, the easier it is for the salesperson to wrap the bad inside of their sales pitch. So doing the boring stuff, you may not brag about it at the cocktail party, but those same old index funds, mutual funds, and stocks that have been around for 100 years, the ones that got you here are probably sufficient to get you to the next level. Yes, we may need to reorganize some of those things in a more strategic way, but the tools themselves are likely more than good enough to get you where you want to go. The message is boring works. Pillar number 3 of our 5-pillar framework is be proactive. I'm going to run through this quickly, so stick with me. This is not the time to procrastinate. A huge part of protecting your wealth is simply planning ahead and paying attention to the little things. Don't wait for something to, smack you over the head, because if you wait till then, it could literally be too late. Here's what you need to do. Review your insurance. Your homeowner's policy should match up with the current value of your home. You'd be surprised how many people miss this. Add or update an umbrella policy that should be aligned with your total assets. Don't let an accident turn into a lawsuit for everything that you've got. Use the umbrella policy. It's the least expensive way to protect everything. Looking forward, make sure you have your estate plan updated and in place. Power of attorneys, wills, trust. Get them done, put them in place, keep them updated. A pro tip for anybody out there who has adult unmarried children: to avoid risk from them and bad things happening, get a power of attorney for your adult unmarried children. That way you can help them out if something bad happens. Separate your spending money from your growth investments. Use multiple accounts. Look out the next 12 to 24 months and keep any extra cash buffer for known expenses outside of the ordinary stuff. And finally, don't wait until December for tax planning. Tax planning should happen year-round. Be proactive. Pillar number 4, asset location. At this wealth level, what you own matters, but where you hold it matters just as much. Here's what I mean. Certain investments are better in taxable accounts like low turnover, low dividend index funds, municipal bonds, ETFs designed for tax efficiency. Other investments belong in retirement accounts like high dividend mutual funds, corporate bonds, or actively managed funds with higher turnover. Misplacing your assets can cause unnecessary taxes year after year. This is a quiet drag on performance. If you fix it, it can really pay off. And finally, pillar number 5 is always get a second opinion. Whether you have an advisor or not, get a second set of eyes on your situation. Seriously, paying for one consultation or partnering with a professional could save you tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars over time. Not because you're necessarily making huge mistakes, but likely because you're missing small silent ones that you don't even notice. And at this level, those small mistakes get really expensive. My final thought here for you today is that you've built something meaningful, and now it's about protecting it and making sure it works as hard as you did. So be intentional, keep it simple, and don't go at it alone. Thank you so much for joining us today. Again, my name's Rob, Certified Financial Planner with RB Wealth. If you're curious about how we might be able to work together and help you implement the pillars that we just discussed or avoid the 4 major traps, there's a link in the description below that you can use to book a free consultation. And if you enjoyed this content, thank you so much for joining us. Please hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more videos just like it. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.